Welcome back to the channel. I'm Spectrum, and before we get into today's video, I want to say thank you for all the love you show to my tips and tricks for killers. So let's get into today's video, okay? Let's talk about one of the ultimate horror gaming challenges. Playing Dead by Daylight is a solo survivor. Yeah, you're out there on your own, no coordination, no voice comms, just you and your instincts. The tension, unmatched. But don't worry, today we've got you covered with some essential tips and tricks to help you not only survive, but thrive out in the fog. By the end of this video, you'll know how to master the art of survival solo style. So let's get into it. First things first, let's get clear on your objectives as a survivor. Your main goal is to repair generators, avoid the killer, and of course escape. But here's the tricky part. Balancing this while staying alive as a solo player. You can't rely on teammates communicating what's happening on their end, so you've got to stay sharp, play smart, keep an eye on the HUD to see what your fellow survivors are up to and if they're in a chase. Whether you're repairing, scouting, or recovering, every action must count. Alright, let's talk generators. They're the heart of your win condition. For the solo players, prioritizing generator repairs is the key to progression. If you're a newer player or maybe a more timid player, stick to the edges of the map when starting repairs. It's safer there early on. If you're a riskier player, head to the center of the map and knock out that gen first. High risk, high reward, you know. And don't forget tools like medkits. You should always take in an item with add-ons. Always check your loadout before a match and use these resources wisely. Medkits for emergencies, toolboxes for speeding up repairs when the killer is pressuring heavily. Resource management can be the difference between survival and being left on your second hook. Little tip, I like to save my toolbox until the game gets to the last 2 gens. To survive in the game, you need to stay out of the killer's sight. Keep an eye on your surroundings by paying attention to the important places like the killer shack where windows are and where pallets spawn. Rotate your camera often to look at a full 360 view of what's around you. Listen closely for changes in the killer's tear radius, which tells you when the killer is nearby. Try to make your movements unpredictable so the killer can't catch you easily. Use natural objects like trees and rocks to hide behind, and crouch down if you need to stay extra quiet. Avoid running unless you really have to, so you don't give away your position. And remember, don't stay too close to a generator that's been fixed or the killer might find you pretty fast. Also, when you're in a chase, turn your camera so you can see behind you so you can tell when the killer is about to swing. Okay, so sometimes being sneaky isn't enough to survive. When you're being chased by the killer, you have to know how to handle that situation. This is an important skill that solo survivors need to master. One key to escaping is learning how to loop the killer. A loop is when you run in circles around certain areas of the map that can help you avoid getting caught, like jungle gyms or areas with lots of pallets. Pallets are the wooden barriers that you can drop on to slow the killer down. But don't drop them too early or waste them. You might need those pallets later on to protect you or even help your teammates escape. Another important part of looping is knowing when to vault, which means climbing to a window or obstacle, and when to double back, which is turning around quickly to trick the killer into thinking that you're going one way while you're actually going the other. This confuses the killer and gives you extra time to get away. Remember, when you're running away from the killer, you're not just saving yourself, you're also giving your teammates more time to finish their task and escape. Every second counts. Waste as much time for the killer as you can. Best advice I can give you if you're a newer player and you want to get better at this, or even if you're an older player but you still struggle with this, is get in as many chases as you can. Just know that you're probably going to die, but get the experience of running and learning the tiles. Here's where things get a little bit tricky. When you're playing solo, your teammates are, well, they're always random. Meaning you can't always rely on them to do exactly what you expect, or to even know how to play the game. So it's really important for you to be careful when you try to rescue someone who's on the hook by the killer. If you're trying to save them, which means you need to time it well, you don't need to get caught by the killer yourself or risk trading hooks where you get caught and get hooked in place of the person you're rescuing. Also, be careful. Try not to leave your teammate open to the killer's attack again, especially if the killer's trying to tunnel them, which means focusing only on that one person. Before you make a move to rescue, pay attention to how the killer is acting. Watch their movements closely to make sure it's safe to go for the rescue. You don't want to run into danger. When it comes to teamwork, you have to pick up on the little signs your teammates are giving. For example, if someone starts working on a generator or if they're trying to block the killer's path by standing in front of them. Even if they're trying to distract the killer to help you out. Try to match their energy and help out in any way you can, since you can't talk directly to them. Paying attention to these small cues and adjusting your actions will make a big difference. You often win or lose based on how well you read the killer. Pay attention to audio cues like when Huntress winds up a hatchet, terror radius changes, perk activations, and even the sound of their weapon swing. Visually, watch their patrol paths and adapt accordingly. If they're running a hex perk, keep an eye out for burning totems. Finding and cleansing those can give your team a massive advantage. Knowing how to adapt to different killer powers from Nurse to Wraith makes you a nightmare for killers. Alright, let's talk perks. Your perk choices as a solo survivor can make all the difference. For self-sufficiency, perks like Self-Care and Iron Will are excellent choices. Bond can help you track nearby teammates, and Bardo Tome is a must for clutch risk use. If stealth is your playstyle, consider Spy and Chill or Urban Evasion. Experiment with different builds to find what fits your strengths and complements random teammates' playstyles. A few great choices for solo, in my opinion, are Adrenaline, which heals 1 health state instantly and grants the survivor 150% speed burst for 3 seconds after all the generators are finished. Another great solo perk is Decisive Strike. After being unhooked for 60 seconds, you can stun a killer for 4 seconds by hitting a skill check. Another solo perk I recommend is Deliverance. This perk activates after you have performed a safe rescue on a fellow survivor, then you have a 100% chance of unhooking yourself on your first hook. Okay, you survived this long and now you're at the endgame. This is where things get really intense. The gates are your way out, and you need to focus on opening one to escape. But while you're trying to open the gate, the killer is going to be looking for you. So keep an eye out on where the killer could be. They might be patrolling around, watching for anyone trying to escape. If you need to, you can even fake opening the gate. This means start opening it, but stop before it's fully open, trying to trick the killer into thinking that you're at that gate and sneak to the other gate and get out for real. For the last one, it gets even trickier. You can use the hatch, which is another escape option to your advantage. The hatch will spawn in a random spot on the map, almost always on the bottom floor of the map if there's 2 stories. And if you find it, you can escape through it instead of the gate, but you're going to have to use the hatch. Patience is really important. Don't rush too quickly because the killer might be nearby. If you make the wrong move at the wrong time, it can end badly for you. Take your time, stay calm, and make your escape when it's safe for sure. Now, let's talk about what not to do. Firstly, early unhooks. Don't rescue the survivor before the killer has even left the area unless it's an in-game necessity. Don't panic during chases. Frequent doubling back without purpose or wasting a pallet is a one-way ticket back to the hook. Don't camp dropped pallets. Run. Gain as much distance as you can. If you're going to go for a flashlight save, make sure that the killer's facing you for goodness sake. And finally, stop staying still in open areas or lingering near completed generators. All those rookie mistakes can attract trouble. Remember, most importantly, stay calm under pressure. That is your best weapon. So that's it, folks. Playing as a solo survivor is no easy task, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences in Dead by Daylight. With practice, patience, and a solid strategy, you'll see your survival rates go through the roof. If you've got tips of your own or stories to share, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and join the Spectrum Army for more horror-themed fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the trials.